When we read a lot of articles or we look at people talking about reinvention, there's usually this concept of here's who you were before, now who are you going to be tomorrow? Now the general premise there sounds fine and that's okay, but what it's doing subconsciously is it's keeping you in a stagnant, well-defined, this is who you are, this is what you do today. So who will you be tomorrow, what will you do tomorrow, and what will define you tomorrow? And that's the first mistake that we make if we start to take on this process of reinventing ourselves or reinventing our organizations. I went through this myself several years ago when I transitioned from being in employee benefits to foresight consulting and to working with organizations in the capacity that I do now. It would be so easy just to look at a resume or to look at here's my past work experience and say, how did you make this jump to what you do today? And I honestly struggled with that. And it wasn't until I actually was able to sit down and rethink the process that I went through, that it's not just because I'm ADD or that I just got bored and just needed something new, although those are definitely components that played a part. But what it was looking at what are the skill sets, what are the outcomes, the outputs that I had accomplished over the past several years. What were those things? Even though I was in employee benefits in the insurance business, I could easily focus on my inputs that I did this, this, and this. But if I change the language of that and say, I achieved this, this, and this, I learned this, this, and this, I exercised this skill, picked up this skill, I did these things here. Then, all of a sudden, the narrative about who I was changed. And furthermore, it also created a very coherent and precise connection between what I had been doing for years before and what I am doing now, and what I will eventually do, down the road. So what I say all this is because if you're really thinking of inventing yourself, you have to look at it as a process that continues, that grows and adapts to change. You cannot look at it as a process of, this is what I do now, so what am I going to do tomorrow? Or this is who I am now, and who am I going to be tomorrow? Because if you do that, then what you're doing is you're putting yourself in another box and you're continuing to limit your full potential. And this should be seen, both from an organizational side and from an individual side. And if you can master the art of saying, you know what, it's not about my inputs, it's not about my job description, it's about my outputs, it's about the things that I've achieved, it's about the skills that I have learned, it's about the common application that these skills can carry in several industries and in real-world experiences.